We come with thankful hearts. We come with open hearts. We even come with expectant eyes, ready to see you in a brand new way.
So these eyes come.
Father, I just pray that as we offer up worship, sincere worship in spirit and in
Oh, wow,
truth,
that's good.
that you reveal yourself in a new way. Ooh, just as the angels cry, holy, 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 24/7, because they're always seeing. I just pray that as we offer up worship, sincere worship in spirit and in truth, show us something new tonight. Let your glory fill the room in a new way. Let your
You hear me?
Yeah. Speak. Oh, Jesus. She went off. Something else. Awesome time. Time to have a break. To be overcome. We want your glory. We want your presence. Holy Spirit. You are so welcome here. Come down this way. Your glory, your glory, your glory, your glory, your glory. Check it out. Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, you are welcome. I'm not saying you're my life on this place and feel the atmosphere. Your glory. Your glory. Well, the music was coming. Now I put it back because you're the first time. So you need to come back. One more time. Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit. Say, Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit. Yes, sir. Holy Spirit. You're welcome. Hey, you're welcome. Holy Spirit. Say, come flood this cup. Come flood this place. We want to river of the Lord. Come flood this place. Come flood this place. Hold on, say, your glory, your glory. Your glory, God. We want to see your glory, your glory. To be all.
Hi everyone, welcome to the first edition of our Young and Married Network Couples Anniversary Chat. Today we have an amazing couple on the love seat for you. I'm excited what this event holds, the truths, the dares, the news, the exciting things that we're going to get out of this discussion. It's a couple that needs no introduction, but before I introduce them, I want you to watch this clip. This before I play, so let me give you a little background. So it's a couple that I have known for a very long time. They're very inspirational. They've done a lot. They've come through a lot of challenges. They've managed to succeed in their marriage, and success in marriage is not easy. 6 years anniversary today. I want you to watch this little clip, how they started and how they've gotten to where they are. All right, we're having just a little technical glitch in the background. You couldn't hear the sound, but that's fine. So as I said, this particular couple needs no introduction. Today on the love seat, we have Mr. and Mrs. Ofori, I beg your pardon, Reverend and Mrs. Ofori, the first family of RIC, River Court International. Reverend and Mrs., can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Aren't you just a beautiful couple? Thank you for giving us your time this evening.
Bless you.
That's my mama and papa, everyone. So I can say whatever I want and get away with it because I'm a child. So just enjoy this interview tonight. My papa likes compliments. So as you're watching, please say hi and pass him a compliment or two. Tell him his haircut looks nice. Let him know that you're with us. So thank you for being with us. So how are you feeling, First Lady?
Fantastic. I'm excited.
You look fantastic.
I'm very excited today. Thank God. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you for
God.
having us.
Thank you for making time for me. So 6 years, huh?
Sorry?
I said 6 years, huh?
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years.
We can't believe it. It's come so quickly, but we thank God 6 years today. Yeah, we can't believe it. We are full of gratitude and thank God for what He's done throughout the first day we said I do to each other, and it's just amazing to see the journey and to see how God has brought us. So yeah, it's exciting this evening to sit here and to just share about the whole journey and what we've been through, and just to encourage someone as well who is yet to marry, who is married in the process of maybe giving up. It's our job to impact. So we are here to pour out to you that marriage is doable and is a beautiful thing God has instituted here.
Amen. I love that. She said marriage is doable. Now, I'm not going to say who it was, but prior to this, one of them messaged me privately and said, please send me the questions before you ask me so I can prepare. I'll let you decide which one it was. And I said, no, I'm not going to send it to you because you've got,
no comment.
One of them said it's not me. You've got biological children, you've got spiritual children who are always coming to you to ask you for advice about marriage, when choosing the right spouse, choosing the right partner, how to make it work, how do you know he's the one? And these are not the sort of things that you can prep or plan for. You have to have answers that comes with experience. Hence why I said I'm not going to give you the questions. Today we're going to flow. I don't even have anything planned. I've got a few questions that people have asked me to ask you. So please don't beat me after this. Don't punish me after this. Oh no, all these questions are my own. So please feel free, enjoy yourself, and we're going to flow. Thank you for being with me. I did give you a hint about one question I was going to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to split those two questions up. The Bible says that two shall become one. And I think before I did ask, so 6 years, 6 things that you wish you knew before getting married. So I'll split it up. Pastor can give me 3. First lady can give me 3. First lady, will start with you. Ladies first.
Why not? Okay.
I was gonna say let the head start, but yeah, thank you for this question. 3 things. Wow. You know what? I think one thing I would talk about the ministry side of things. That when Pastor popped the question and I said yes, I think the one thing everyone around me asked was, "Yeah, sure. Are you sure you're going to be us for mommy? Are you sure you can do it?" And it's like that question was always like daunting, just like what is actually in there that is so scary that everywhere I turn to, people are always asking me, you know, are you sure you bet me also mommy? Are you sure you can become us of mommy? Also, mommy basically means being a pastor's wife. So are you sure you can become a pastor's wife? And 6 years in, what I wish I knew was for people to go into details. So not just scare you with the title and things, but go into details. Maybe a woman to sit me down and say, I have been there. This is what it looks like. This is the challenges you are going to go through. This is, you know, the beautiful side of marrying a pastor. This is the burdens it comes with it. So I wish people sat me down, or an elderly woman or a pastor's wife sat me down and actually gone through the details with me, that this is why people think it's so scary, and this is what I have experienced that is so beautiful. So that side is what obviously I wish I knew, but I have obviously answered those questions myself in marriage.
Done your own research.
I've done my own research, but I've been through the experience, and by God's grace, 6 years I am still standing and I am still lots of mommy. So it's good. So that's one. The second thing is timing. So am I taking all your points?
She's looking at my points now.
She's looking at your point.
That's good though. Great minds work together. So so that, and then time that I did not know. I think I always discuss this with my sisters, that, you know, I didn't know how demanding it was in marriage, that you really, your time is not your time anymore. So the time you had being single, well, I had been single, to be able to, you know, invest in myself more, maybe to be able to go out with the girls more, to be able to spend more time with my mom, go on holidays with friends, things like that. Like, I wish someone told me that, hey, marriage is something else, and especially once you get married, once you start having kids, especially with ministry, you don't have time to yourself anymore. And it's funny, yesterday I was speaking to one of my girlfriends, and she was like, she has booked me 3 weeks, and she's giving me 3 weeks notice because she wants to have lunch with me. And she said, tell Albert that day he don't have a choice. He needs to let you out. I said, okay, fine. So I'll put that in my diary. So it's little things like that I wish someone, you know, told me. I think we used to have a little bit of an issue at the beginning when I would go out and he would be calling me and I'll be, you know, testing, why do you always want me home? Little things like that. I just wish someone spoke more about it before I got married. And this third one, I just can't think of anything. The third one. I can't.
You've given us 2 very broad ones, and
I would say patience. I would say patience, because prior to getting married, I'm always demanding, I need this at this time. You need to do this at this time. We need to do this at this time. And when we got married, it's not about you anymore. Marriage is not selfishness. So you cannot always, you know, come in and demand things at your own time. But you have to also put your partner's, you know, schedules and your partner's purpose into consideration. So if I want this done now, like I used to do before, it doesn't work in marriage. So patience, you have to, have patience. Yeah, it's one of the fruits of the spirit. You have to have patience. You have to enjoy marriage. And I think, that's the things I wish I knew prior to marrying. So hope I answered.
Amazing. It's funny you touched upon the also for mommy or being a pastor's wife aspect. We will explore that later on as we go along. But Papa, my very own Papa, I know my first lady is perfect, so she hasn't given you much trouble. So there's absolutely nothing you can say.
Yeah. I'm an angel.
Imagine this a negative thing anyway. I mean, all right. I think for myself, as I said earlier, I want to also obviously appreciate everyone for obviously watching us here, because I believe that we've been called to impact our lives, and not just praying and praying and lay hands upon people. But Paul said the other day that I long to meet you so that I can impact, so we can also share knowledge to help other people that are also coming up. So this is why we are doing it. So just in case you're asking, So anyway, so if you're on, you can share as well. You can be on your page, and of course encourage other people to obviously watch it. So it will be a blessing to them. I think for me, I don't have nothing really negative to say. It's just the fact that you didn't know something doesn't mean it's negative. If that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I probably will talk more again on time, because time, I actually put down some few points, and I think time was my top of the list anyway.
Okay.
So I think because obviously before we got married, I was already in ministry.
Yeah.
So it's not as if I got into ministry after marriage.
Yeah.
So, and I think for me, every time, I remember I told her, or if I didn't tell her, I might have signaled to her that one thing I'm afraid of is time, losing time with God.
Yeah, I remember always. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and in as much as I saw that, but I still realized that if I had understood time more, it would have been a great thing, because when you were alone, you think you were alone. You don't know what's going to happen. Obviously now you have a wife, you have kids at home, and and that is one of the areas where I believe that most men of God are really struggling with the chance to be able to spend time with God. Because even when you go on a retreat, your mind is still home. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
Your kid responsibility. So, but when you were alone, I think you don't care about anyone. You don't think about. So, I think I wish I understood the value of time more.
Okay.
I understood value of time more, as in, for me as a minister, like spending time with God, immersing myself in the anointing, and doing many things. I did some, but I thought I could have done more, if that makes sense. But obviously now, when you go out, when it's 10 p.m. or even 7 o'clock or 6 p.m., you are thinking, oh, I've got kids,
Yeah.
I need to go home. So those sort of things, I wish I made good use of my time before I got married. I did this good time, but it was not enough, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I think also, apart from time, maybe reading more materials.
Okay.
Reading more materials, which has a link with the time as well.
Yeah.
I think when I was alone, I used to read a lot anyway, but now I wish I read more. There are materials I found today. I realized, that material has been there for 15 years. So why didn't I know about it? So I felt I could have done a lot of reading. I could have read more about marriage. I could have, and guess what? For myself, in as much as I had obviously fathers ahead of me, a lot of things, but by the grace of God, I don't know how it happened, but it was a try and luck kind of thing, because I wasn't sure. You get my point? People will come even before I got married. People will come to me. I will counsel them. I used to do premarital counseling, everything as well. Some of the stuff I would say, I'm like, but this thing I'm saying, I have not actually
practice it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
where is it coming from? Do you get my
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
but then again, I wish I had more time to really read more materials,
Yeah.
attend more seminars. Today I wish I can attend more seminars. Even though I'm a pastor now, I wish I could attend more marriage seminars, conferences, workshops, read more books, because I used to read books a lot, but obviously now it's gone down a bit, because obviously now when you pick up a book to read, you just not much.
I'm not like
And
that.
then you know, sometimes, you know, when you are going out, you get something like, "Are you going out?" And I'm like, "Baba, you said I'm going out already." But before I can decide, I can go and enjoy my work, and no one
No
can
accountability.
accountability. You know, but now when they go out, "Are you going out?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm wearing my shoes." So yeah, so really, that's pretty much what I can say.
Okay, following on from that, because you both touched on time. So
Yeah.
personally, especially for ministers, not for non-ministers, I think one of the most wise scriptures in the Bible comes from Paul, when he said that the married man has many worries or many cares, and
Right.
he personally advised people not to get married, and he gets a lot of backlash for that. People say it's because he wasn't good looking. But putting that aside, you knew your time was precious to you, and you were a minister before you met your wife. So what made you decide to get married? Did she seduce you?
Hey.
Well,
Well,
she did
Well.
not. You know why? Because I mean, I don't know if what I'm going to say is right, but I don't want to use the word seduce. I mean, I told her that marriage is a decision.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to marry,
He was gonna ask
not
you
because the way she was walking around me, tempting me, seducing
Hey,
me,
I
that
was
kind of
tempting
thing.
you.
You get my point? No,
whilst you're preaching.
I'm trying to obviously answer the question. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think I reached a point where I decided I want to marry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, being a man of God, there was a bit of pressure. You know, you're preaching to people and you're not married and that kind of thing. So I think for me, it was a decision I made that, you know what, it is time for me. And when the time was up, it was up. Nothing could really block it. So it was really about decision that, you know what. And I remember when I told her it's time to marry, it was like, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, we are getting married like in the next few months." And yeah, so I think for me, it was more about decision, really.
Decision. I love that.
Yeah.
First lady.
Yes.
I'm sure there are a lot of eligible bachelors around you at that time as well. What made you decide this is the man I'm going to spend the rest of my? He said a lot. Hey, first lady.
With this God's glory.
What made you decide this is the man I'm going to give into and spend the rest of my life with?
Okay, thank you for the question. That's a great question. I think well, everyone knows, well, most of the EV around us know that we have been around each other for the longest, because it was a friendship that developed between our parents. Our parents met each other almost 22 something years ago in a church, and then
your mouth is not really that great, so please just avoid it.
see the troubles I go through after church when they pray. First lady this, first lady that. Then you go home and see what I go through. Anyway, so so everyone knows that it's been so our parents had a great friendship, and then through that friendship, that's how we got to know each other. We started working as friends for the longest, and then finally, well, he asked me to be his girlfriend for a long time, but obviously I always declined it. And then married. I'm joking. Yeah, we were friends for the longest, and but what I liked about him was his passion. And I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago when we had a chat with one of our pastor's friends about marriage, that it was something that couldn't be changed. So he loved his passion for the things of God, I knew that it was a permanent thing, that it just wouldn't change, because he loves God so much. And it was always about his Father's business, like Christ was. He was always constantly in church. He was doing this. It was always Christ-minded. And he's a person that cares so much. So, you know, I just love that. 3 things about him. So it was his purpose, it was God, and it was also about, you know, the way he cares about people around him. And it's not always about him. He always look outside the box and, you know, take care of other people rather than his needs. So I like that selfless, personality about him. So yeah, that was the 3 reasons I said yes.
Okay, I love that. So 6 years on, do you believe he's the man God chose for you, or have you just learned to settle because you can't go anywhere now?
Oh, well, I can't go anywhere now, but it's not that.
If God was to come down and say, I'm going to give you one wish.
No, definitely. You know what, to be honest with you, you asked me a question that there was a lot of men around, bachelor men. It's funny because I didn't really get a lot of men when I was single coming around me and always, you know, sniffing. No, I can literally count the amount of guys that came in that was seriously, you know, I can't count it. So it's our relationship, I always say, is divine. I think it's God that orchestrated it. And the fact that my parents knew each other, I got into this country 16 years ago, boom, we came to one church, we didn't change locations, and then walking, and that's it. So I felt like he was the first actual man that I met on the land of UK. He was. We came here on the 4th of April 2004. And he was the first gentleman, I would say, I'll call a friend, that was around the family, that was always helping us with our work, with uni work, with everything. And so I feel like, I know that, he's my man.
He's got a huge grin on his face.
No, God. I'm a man. You're not a man now.
Man of God.
Yes, my dear.
What were your reasons? Because in every ministry, especially in a young ministry like RIC is, you always have more women than men. And for a younger ministry like RIC, you have a lot more youthful and vibrant young ladies compared to the aunties and the mummies. So of all the women around you, what made you decide she is the one?
Okay.
We've established the element of seduction. And she used to love her 8-inch heels. I remember those, walking up and down the pulpit. Yeah.
It wasn't
12-inch. Oh, sorry, apologies.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Anyway, I think for me, I'm not someone that, I mean, my eyes are great. I mean, I can see things. Remember,
you see things.
But me, I'm one of those that I'm not quickly impressed by outlook. And I think sometimes we get we talk a little or argue about it. Yeah. I'm not someone that I see, oh wow. No. You never get with me. I think for me, I have to get closer. I have to get to know who you are, talk to you, that kind of thing. You know, I've got to know you. You know, that's. I mean, men are different anyway. But I think for me, I think obviously we were in the same choir. I was a.
You're my leader.
I used to. In fact, I trained her to sing. Really,
hey,
I trained her.
You choir leaders.
I remember she used to sing this song. This Ghana, I forgot anybody. I
was giving you something last night. Remember?
Like remember no, I don't know sing this one.
Sing it.
No, sing it. Yeah. So like for me, I think it was mostly about her heart, really. The point, her heart, really, and also I checked her background as well. Background check was very important. I mean, because you were a minister, you are a man of God, and you don't just marry anybody. To get my point. So for me, and I wouldn't say it's something that everyone should go for. I mean, for me, I checked the background of who this person is. I mean, who's been her life and blah blah blah. Checked her heart, and the only way I could know her heart was not because God told me, because I did the research. I worked with her. She was around me. I was able to notice her character, her attitude, and I'm like, for a man of God, I need stability. You get my point? I need someone who will not give me problem at home.
Okay.
one that when I go out, she can home and look after my kids. So those are the things that I was looking for, because I knew that for me, I'm called into ministry, and I was in ministry already when I saw her, even though I was not pastoring, but I knew that I will be in the ministry. So I was searching for a woman that I know, and most of you know me that. By the grace of God, I'm more or less more of a revivalist. I don't stay one place. Really travel a lot. I travel a lot, So I need someone who was a home person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That would to take care of the home, look after the kids. I'm not trying to make her like what's it called again? Is it a home wife or
A housewife?
But again, as a man of God, those are a great quality that I was looking for in a woman. I think by working with her, I saw her heart, that her heart was gold. She wouldn't give me any problem, even though I realized, and I think I was telling her that when I met her and during the times we were dating, her heart was very, very, like easily provoked, but she said I saw that obviously you were quick tempered, but as we grow up, we mature, and we come up with it. So I think for me, I was looking more at character, attitude, looking at qualities, virtue, than the outward. The outward was great. The outward was great, but that was not my focus. Because if the outward was our focus, then we will make mistakes in life.
Yeah.
But I think my focus more was the heart, the inward, the woman she is now, and the kind of woman I saw she would be. And whatever I saw her at that particular time, that's actually the fruit I'm seeing now.
Amen.
Nothing else. So I think I saw something that I believe will come out of her, and now it's happening, really.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think just to touch up on what you said, I'm so glad you said that, because the purpose of this is for especially young people to know what to look out for when you're looking for a partner, when you're looking for a spouse. And most of the time people have a checklist, but what's on that checklist doesn't marry what God requires. And you mentioned what's in the hearts of the person. The outer appearance is important, but what's within the person essentially is what counts and is what's going to make the marriage stand. So thank you very much, man of God. That's amazing. So there is a popular saying.
Can I say this? One thing I'd like to add on to that is that outward appearance can change over time. It can change over time. I mean, you can be a woman, she has a nice face. One day, she can be involved in an accident. She can be in the kitchen cooking and something can happen, then she will lose that thing that attracted you.
Yeah.
To my point. And then sometimes maybe you want a very slim lady, whatever, and then she have kids and then now she's blown. So what are you going to do? My point. So I consider those aspects. And I said, no, I'd rather I will look at the inside. The inside is, and that's really what I saw. I think for me, the inside was my priority. And then sometimes you tell me that you I know you love me. I know because it was all about the heart, really. It's the inside. That's why I owe to young people that please, whatever attracted you to a man, that thing has to be there. There with a man. Yeah. Whatever reason why you travel to America, if you go there and see it, then you're disappointed. Let me end here. I don't want to go this. Let's go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I'm trying to say that. So whatever you saw about the man and the woman, that tension, that's if outward, as in future. One day they can lose.
Yeah.
And when they lose it, your interest will be gone as well.
Yeah.
So I always tell people that please look at the heart. Even though the heart is not seeable, but the heart is feelable.
Yeah.
When you're close to someone, you can feel their heart.
Yeah.
But many times, I think we're just looking at the hair, the complexion, and then the bum, and then the breast, and you know all these sort of things, and you know, get my point. All these over time they change. Everybody change.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, look at my beautiful wife now. Before you were size so.
We're watching a wedding video. Size 8.
Size 8.
Size 8. Yeah.
Jump.
She jumped.
I mean, like,
she didn't walk. She jumped.
Yes, she jumped. That's my point. So she jumped from
from glory to glory.
Yeah, from glory to glory. So like from no, now by the grace of God, she added two more, at least 2, you know, over the years. So imagine
one big child.
Exactly, and I think it's amazing. It's amazing because what we're saying is that there are men in this world that just want size 8.
Yeah.
But please, you can't have it forever.
Yeah.
It's impossible. She will change, especially this lockdown. Some are coming out with, you know. Yeah, exactly. So please, the outward should not be our main, because I think we should look at. The Bible said that when Saul met Samuel, when Samuel left Samuel, the Bible said, and the Lord gave Saul a new heart. And Saul became a completely a new person. So you'll be looking at the heart, really.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you. Well, very well elaborated. I know her beauty was part of the reason as well, but you've tried to walk around it. I'm not going to say anything.
Of course. Of course, 100%. The beauty was, of course, amazing, but I just didn't want to make it the main thing. You got my point? Because, of course, I'm not going to marry a monkey.
Hey.
I'm not going to marry. You got my point? Of course, I'm a man of God. I'm a man of God. So
you're indeed a man.
Exactly. My wife must be on point to the point.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
My wife must look great, so that when people come, oh, Pastor's wife is great. But if they come and say, hey, so is that what Pastor married? You see my point? So of course the beauty was, you know,
First Lady.
Hello.
You've just been hailed. So there is a popular saying that men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and it highlights the difference in nature and character of both sexes. Now, applying it to your marriage, how have you found this to be true, or how have you found this to be so in terms of your husband? How do you differ?
Okay,
does that make sense?
Please ask the question again, please.
So the question is, I based it on the fact that there is a popular saying that says men are from Mars and women are from Venus. It means sometimes understanding is far. You're trying to talk to the man and it just doesn't. I mean, the woman as well. Please, I saw the look I got and it just doesn't gel. How have you found this to be so in marriage? Like, are there certain things in marriage or certain things between you and your spouse, between you and your partner, you think, oh God, how are you so different? Like, why are you struggling to comprehend what I'm saying? Like,
thank you. That's a good question, actually, and it is true. After 6 years, I can confidently say it is true, because first of all, you are both coming from 2 different angles. You're both coming, even though, like I mentioned, we knew each other for the longest, but then when you get married, it's a whole different ball. It's not friendship level anymore. And so me coming from a background of, you know, my mom has raised me differently, his parents has raised him differently. When we come together, I think one thing Pat always says, you don't have to be, you know, what is the word, compatible when you're coming together in marriage. So 2 of us are 2 different, you know, coming from 2 different. So sometimes communication can be very difficult for one person to understand, because you are bringing it in a different way or different dimension to where maybe used to getting it. Maybe the way his mom will communicate to him is different to how I would communicate to him. The way his sisters would communicate to him is different to how I will communicate to him. So sometimes you don't just get it straight away, and it ends up being you know, because we joke about you know, and then he would say the same thing. So yeah, definitely, I agree with that. But it's all about communication. You know, and as you grow, as the years, you know, add to, you get more years on top of the marriage. As you grow in marriage, I think it becomes a bit easier for each other, for us to obviously understand each other, or for you to understand each other. But it comes definitely with communication. Sometimes you have to communicate, you have to speak and repeat yourself and repeat yourself, but it works. So yeah,
it works.
Yeah,
I like that. Man of God.
Yes, I'm here.
Your question is different. So it's in two parts. What has been the most challenging aspect of marriage for you as a man, first and foremost, then in terms of ministry? Does that make sense? So the most challenging aspect of marriage, first and foremost, as a man in general, that everyone can relate with, and then being a pastor.
Okay, I think I was probably discussing something a bit similar with her. I think also like I think for me being in marriage, I think one of the things that that actually brought me to my knees was the recent death of my mom. It was very, very, very huge, if that makes sense. And I think it's something that everyone can relate to. Like, I mean, losing someone very dear to your heart, and when you come back home, you don't get the same vibe anymore. You know, I mean, she would say good morning, good evening. You don't even respond. That sense of joy at home is not there anymore. And I remember I'll go out, I'll come back home very, very late. And there are times that you call me, I don't even want to speak because there's nothing to talk about. Do you know my point? I mean, there are times there was a lot to talk about, but I just was not in the mood to talk because my heart was really broken. So it was a very challenging moment for me as a man. But as I was saying this morning, I think I give her good credit because she actually handled it really well. And I remember she won't go to bed until I go to bed because she saw how broken that I was. And I think that was very, very challenging as a man, you know. And then I think I remember, you know, that's one thing I think I'm going to tell everyone to do. If you're not married, if your sister is going to have a child, follow her. You know, because our first child, I think the second child I was okay. But yeah, I think for me as a man, what I hate is that when there is a problem going on and I don't have anything to offer, I'll go crazy. I just can't stand it. I always want to be able to do something to offer a hand, to offer support. And one of the areas where almost 90% of men cannot support is a labor room or labor ward, right? And I think I was more confused than Abraham. I think so. I was just overly confused. I'll pray a little bit and then I'll come back and check. Wow. And then I go back had the baby. And then you go again, you're sitting down, you're thinking it's gonna come out. So when you cannot help, I think it's the most difficult thing in life. And of course, when it comes to ministry as well, I mean, I've been into ministry. I mean, you pray for people come to you. I'm going to have a child, and then you prophesy, you pray. You know, may the Lord be with you. I pray for an angel I pray that may heaven give you a strange and awesome midwife. May angels come and with your baby. We pray all this kind of prayer because we believe it will happen. But when is your turn? When it is your turn? Oh, it's a different, you know, there's no one there to pray that kind of prayer for you. So I think that's one thing I believe that my mom, and also in terms of my, you know, when my wife was going to have a child, it was such. I remember I went to the hospital. They were like, she has not dilated yet. This is the right way. So come back home, and then we came back home, and after a while we went back again. They were like, so I don't know. I was more confused than Abraham. And I think when it comes to the ministry as well, challenges really is about time again, really time, because as a minister, you really have to balance home and ministry, because you don't want to be seen as you are doing very well outside. On flyers, you're on Facebook Live, Instagram, you're doing very well, and then your home is in a mess. You get my point? The Bible talks about anybody who wants to lead in the house of God must first of all be able to take care of their home. So that balance can be difficult sometimes to maintain, making sure your home is at peace, your home is well. And I always saw people that when you go out to preach, you go out, you do really well, you come back home, and your wife is not happy, your kids are not happy, you are a failure. And I always people that for me as a man of God, my first disciple is my wife, you know, my family. And if I fail my wife, I fail everyone. So my priority more is to make her happy and make the home really happy. But how do you balance that with me? Because you have been called by God. And one day your wife said, I want to leave you, and that's what we want to do with the ministry. So it's a all of us in ministry that managing the home and the music can be a bit of hectic, but you still have to combine both together, because some people done it. I mean, sometimes you know, the Benny Hines and all the archbishops, they are doing it, so you don't have an excuse. You have to balance, make sure that so that's what I was saying.
Okay, perfect. And First Lady, this is for you, following on what Papa has just said, because I know you personally, you're a very strong-willed, independent woman. So how have you practiced I like that. How have you practiced submission in marriage and still maintain these characters?
Okay. As we all know, submission is very important, because Christ asked us to be submissive, especially as women. So the foundation of marriage is the Bible. I was speaking to one of my friends this afternoon, and she was saying people think marriage is easy, but marriage is not easy. You know, the Bible says it seek understanding and knowledge. If you don't have understanding and knowledge on what, you know, it's not just marriage, but what godly marriage is, what the foundation is, why God, you know, allowed us to, you know, marry. And if you don't have this understanding, you will fail. And I think it's important that we understand what submission is before we make our plans or we decide that we want to get married. Because if you don't know what submission is, you would not know how to submit. And being in this 21st century world where, you know, as women do have the privilege to go out and to work and to do so many things, is sometimes it can become a challenge to submit the way God wants us to submit. But what keeps me submitted to my husband is the word of God. I don't look elsewhere for opinions, and I don't look elsewhere for go on YouTube and look at how people are living their lives and opinions about submissions and if it's worth submitting. I think submission is a beautiful thing. If you love God, then it's easier for you to submit, because you know, God said we should submit, and the husband will also love us. So you cannot love until you submit. So submitting to your husband is not something he doesn't do to you anyway, or he doesn't. So that is my understanding. If I give him this, then I would get something. I would reap it back in 100-fold. But if I don't submit and I say I am a 21st century woman, I have done this, done that, and you know, I'm a boss lady, and I've got this, and I don't need a man, and I don't need to, you know, submit and for him to make the decisions in the house, and the marriage will fail. Yeah, even it would fail because you are not, you know, in the right mind or in the right understanding of what submission is. So it will fail. So yeah, that is what has helped me. That submission, it is not a curse. Submission doesn't mean that he's making you, sorry to say, a rag, or he's just stepping on you, prisoner. I think submission is beautiful, and submission is just respect. If you are able to submit to God, then it's easier for you to submit to a man. But if you don't submit to God, if you don't have any, you know, sign of authority towards your father that created you, then definitely you will be able to last in marriage and submit. So it is how I look up to God, it's how I also look up to my husband, and that makes submission easier as well. Perfect.
Just a quick minute. If you've just joined us, we are on the love seat with our very own Papa and Mama RIC family, Reverend and Mrs. Ofori. I almost said my husband's name. See? Reverend and Mrs. Ofori. Papa, please don't say a word. Please share. Please share. Invite your friends, your family. Tell them to come and listen to wisdom. The Bible says, study to show yourself approved. So come and listen to wisdom from an amazing couple who have made it 6 years. 6 years is not an easy journey. They have made it by God's grace. Come listen to the wisdom nuggets that has gotten them to where they are. So please click on the link, share it, invite someone. Moving on, Papa. Actually, I wanted to ask First Lady. So I think when Papa was speaking, he made a comment that a wife that will stay at home and look after the kids. For me, that's a form of submission. So I want one other practical example of how you felt you've had to submit to in a marriage, especially being a pastor's wife. Yeah.
I think submission is, I can get feedback. Is it okay now? Yeah, submit. So one way, like I said, I've already spoken about. The second thing you're submitting is finance and finance. And money in the I think this is one of the big areas in marriage, and it can break up your marriage. And when you get married, I remember before I got married, one of my friends advised me that when you get married, your money needs to go straight into your husband's account. You get paid, it goes straight into your husband's account, and that is the way of submission to him. That's how they were practicing it. But I didn't understand it at the time. But then when I got married, ours is a bit slightly different how we manage our finances. But it is still the same. So I get paid. My money really is not my money, because when we and we are making decisions, it will be, we need to do this, we need to do that. So we have a joint account, we put the money together. But then when it comes for him to say, maybe I want us to do this year, I want us to do this year, I am not going to say I have put maybe this amount of money every month. So but then you have to pray about it with him, and you just have to trust him that you are the leader of the house. You have said so. So the money is not for me, it's for us. And your decision about how you want to do this family, what you want to do, and that I also believe in that vision. So even though maybe in your heart you just, this money, wow, it can do so much things, maybe personally you might have your own purposes and your own things you want to do, but when you get married, you realize that as a woman, your purpose, I'm not saying you don't matter, you do, but then you have a leader. And biblically, in marriage, we are not the leaders, our husbands are the head. So even though you purpose, my husband loves and supports everything I do anyway, but at that time, if he'd make a decision that this is what we are using the money to do, I have to follow, and I have to trust him that let's do it. So I think that is one thing I've learned.
Amen.
Amen. Man of God, I'm going to ask you, because I was listening to a man of God who said, especially first ladies, when they're given the mic, they can talk and they can say all the lovely things that they think people want to hear, but behind closed doors, they don't practice what they preach. Is your wife a submissive wife?
Well, I hope.
Or are you biting your tongue when you're speaking?
I'm very transparent today, so it's good. My husband don't lie as well.
You know, in life, I would say that every woman wants to have her way, really.
Yeah.
Every woman wants to have her way. So I'm one of them that always says that, you hold microphone and your wife is this, your wife is that, your wife is that. I'm being honest. 99% of men of God will tell you that not all that we say are accurate. You have to, I'm being really honest. You have to hype your wife.
Yeah.
Because if you talk her down, you are talking yourself down.
That's true.
If you talk her down, remember your children are watching you.
Yeah.
So you have to, of course, I'm not going to stand there popping and say my wife is a bad woman. Of course not. That day there will be a problem. I never will say that. So of course, even and sometimes you can get to church and then even prior you may have a little argument at home. You get my point. Then you try to use the pulpit to resolve the problem. Yeah, we've done that before. Oh, my wife. Oh, by the grace of God, my wife. Then she smile. That smiling means we have now resolved the matter. We all do that. We all do that. But yes, but of course, my wife, I think majority of time the things that I say are right. Yeah. But like I said, every woman wants to have a way, and it's not everything that we say, obviously, is accurate. But majority of times, I think what I say about my wife is true. Yeah.
Majority of the time, I like that.
Majority of times, yeah. Yeah.
Please keep your questions coming. I'm getting some, but please, if you want to ask anything, you can use the chat section in Facebook if you're logged in through Facebook or YouTube, and please post your question and we should be able to pick it up. I have a question for you, First Lady.
Okay.
So this is for women who are getting married or thinking of getting married or planning on getting married to men in ministry. Do you believe a certain set of qualities are needed to be successful as a pastor's wife, as opposed to being married to a normal man who is in a ministry? So do you believe a pastor's wife needs to have a certain set of characters?
Yep.
Okay.
I think the first thing that I think is vital for you to have as a woman of God, or as a Sofmami, or as a pastor's wife. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah. You have to be able to welcome people. Mm-hmm. So I don't know the right words, but just being open, mm-hmm. being transparent, and being able to just welcome people. Mm-hmm. It's not about, it's not about necessarily you always, and people will step on your feet all the time, people will hurt you all the time, but you still have to have, that you just still have to have, being able to just welcome people, even at the point of them, stepping on your toes and do things and whatnot. You still be able to, have a servant heart and be able to welcome people. And I think that is what I've had from the beginning, is to be a servant. If you cannot serve, and if you cannot serve people, you wouldn't be able to become a pastor's wife. It won't work. You always have to have a heart to serve, no matter what they do. It is not about them, it is about the work of the Father that we are doing. So if you have that, I think that's one characteristics you need to have, is to be a servant and to be able to welcome people with open arms, anytime, any day, any hour, anytime. Yeah.
Have you ever have you at any stage within your 6 year of marriage regretted marrying a man of God?
To be honest with you, I'll be honest here.
Please. So this is what
like I said, there is a beautiful side of it. Like of course, everything, there's a risk. Getting married is a risk, because you don't know what is going to happen in 2 years. But you still made a decision, for better, for worse. That is a risk you're taking, right? So marriage is risk. Everything we do in life, there is a risk side. You don't agree? Or?
I didn't say anything.
All right. So it is. So I love being a pastor's wife, to be honest with you. From the beginning of marrying him, at the beginning, it was like I said, people were always, hey, we are sure. Can you marry a software? Can you marry a pastor? Being a pastor's wife is hard, and so I had that, scare. Oh, wow. But then to loving people, I naturally just love people. And I'm a person that always, Rosie, I've known me for 16 years, always just love to open my house for people to come in. I'm a person at home that the first one that would organize someone's birthday, the first one that would think this is coming up, we need to do this. So organizational side of things, I am on it. Like, it's part of me, and I love people. So I think I had that characteristic. So when people always come at home, there is not a single day, and he will be honest with me, that someone, and I will moan that, this house, every day there's somebody, and people will leave my house at 3 a.m. and I would never moan, because I love that. I just love it. And as the church is growing as well, I love meeting new people. So as new people are coming in church, I just love it. It's just something that I just love, accommodating people. Now, the difficult side of being a Sofmami, I think that's what everyone would want to hear. The difficult side of being a Sofmami is the vision itself. Being your husband, being a pastor, he is no longer,
just your husband.
He's no longer a husband first. There is time that I wish that we can, maybe go on holiday. There is time I wish we can maybe spend the evening together. There is times I wish that maybe, we can just do things that don't go out for the whole 5 days. But marrying a pastor is not, like I said, you have to be selfless when you want to be a pastor. It's not about interest anymore, but it is about the vision. The vision. So he will come home and say, like I said, this money is not going here. We are paying church rent. And this was at the beginning of our marriage. It was what we experienced a lot. So he would work full time. I would work full time. At the end of the month, church rent, tithe didn't come in because it was still a small church. And who needs to pay the rent is the head pastor. So we would take our earnings and put it into church. And so it was always about church, and it was always about, and we were not invested in any other side. It's just church, and you would work hard, and at the end of the month, you're not saving so much because we are paying church rent, we are paying musicians, we are paying this. Sometimes pastor will say, oh, this person said they can't pay their rent this month, so we need to help. And I'm thinking, but we haven't even paid our rent. So we need, so that is the only side, or the one side I would say it can be very, very, very difficult that you have to always constantly sacrifice, constantly giving out to people, just like Christ was. He was always going about this business. Christ was always giving out. And that is what the ministry work is about. It's always giving out. So I would share my husband with, 10,000 other women. That is true. And I like that. always around women. So if you're not a woman that, don't have the grace to be a mame, you wouldn't be able to, because it can actually bring depression. He's always around other women, and they walk around him comfortably. Comfortably. I remember when we started, I think our first year anniversary, 1 year anniversary actually. And so we went to church, finished church. Okay, pastor is finished. Now can I take my husband to Nando's? And one girl was like, oh, it's anniversary. So where are we going? So where you and me are going?
Said, where are we going?
What do you mean, where are you going? You and who are going where? I mean, I just want to carry my husband and go Nando's and just sit down and have a chicken and just smile. And it's funny because she didn't have any sort of, no, we actually went Nando's with 3 of us, went Nando's, and that was how we celebrated our first anniversary. We had it with another person.
No, you remember?
You don't remember me? I remember. I remember. So that is the difficult side of it, but it's a joy to serve, and it's a joy to actually be a man of God's wife. Yeah, it's good.
It's good to be. It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's good to serve the Lord. Think about it. It's good to serve the Lord. It's good to serve the Lord.
If the table was to turn around, do you think we would have done that though? I haven't seen 10,000 men around me, and on anniversary, someone coming in and saying,
exactly what you said.
You'd have stepped on my toes and
the vision. You came for the vision. And like, for example, like someone like Joyce Meyer, she's the called one. And the husband is kind of like administrator sort of from my point. So she's the called one. I mean, and there are many women as that are the called ones. So I think, I don't know what I would have done, but I think I probably would have done what you're doing. Well, we women, we are different. So definitely, I wouldn't have.
I'm seeing some subtle head shakes in the background, Papa.
Of course, 100%. There's no way I would have been able to do what she's doing, because God didn't create men just like He created women. Do you get my point? We are women, and we are. I mean, naturally, men are as jealous as God is. Any man that tells you he's not jealous, they are lying. That's just how the nature of God is anyway. So I think if the table would have, it probably would have been a bit of a problem, but you have to grow. Because remember, use the word vision, right? It's about the vision. If it's about the vision, then my interest needs to really be put aside. It will be difficult, of course, but then again, you just have to pray to God that it works well.
Has it worked well so far?
Well, we are still married 6 years.
I mean,
it has.
It's worked well. I mean, I understand where she's coming from. That because obviously, I mean, I'm very careful. The ministry is big. And then we got great people around, and sometimes, I mean, I work around women a lot anyway. And then there's nothing wrong with working with women, really. I think it's just what you do with them, really. And Jesus worked with women, and so there's nothing really wrong with that. It's just that it's people's perception.
Yeah.
Especially the African society, when there's a woman around, you get my point. So it's just some sort of mindset that people need to grow up and then come out of it. So if something happened, we said it.
Yeah.
We knew it. You get my point. So
and that's and to add to what you said as well. I think
I need to chat in my mic so you can go.
Okay, that's fine. Another thing I would add to the qualities needed to marry a man of God is being able to trust him fully. When you said when you exchange vows and you said I do whatever, you trusted him with your life, you trusted him with everything. Because one thing, just to add to what Pastor said, that I've had people come to me, and I've even shared with you that they would say, "Oh, I think your husband is are you sure your husband is not cheating?" Am I sure? That's the question.
Wow.
It's because I saw him with this one. I saw him. He's always about this one. He's always doing this, and is he spending enough time at home? And you know what? Especially when I had Aiden, you need to take care of yourself. You need to look nice. You cannot just lose yourself because your husband is a pastor, and you know there's so many women around him. So there's a lot of people advising me these things. A lot of people everywhere I turned. You need to take care of yourself because you know your husband is in the eye of people, and every day he's and Pastor Albert is looking good these days. You know, Chris, you need to fix. Do you understand? So things like that. You've always been looking good, but you got there. It'll be another day, you know. But there's level to this game, you know, from glory to glory. He said that good looking. But so if you don't have trust and if you don't believe in your husband, I don't think it would have worked. We probably would have been divorced a long time ago because he's constantly around women. But because I trust him, that he's my husband, like he said, I loved you and I proposed, and something inside of you that I liked is the same thing. There's something inside of him that I liked, and you need to just make up your mind that even if he's with Sister A, because he has chosen you, he would not do anything.
Amen.
And you need to believe him that what, he has married me, and the reasons he married me, it still stands.
Yeah, I trust you. My point. I trust you.
I'm saying my own.
Yeah, I know.
So it won't change. So if you have that trust, if you don't trust in your husband or in the man of God that you have married, you will cry as a mommy every day because and no one will hear your story because you cannot be going around asking church members, have you seen my husband? Oh, I'm so upset. Last night he didn't come home. Oh, do you think my husband? You can't because you are meant to be encouraging them. So as a pastor's wife, it's important that you always have trust and just believe in God. Pray for him all the time. That and you speak positive words all the time. That he married me, he wouldn't do such thing. And don't listen to too much of what people say. It's good, but I've got mothers in church, few mothers that are always advising me. But at the same time, there are also people out there that are just not in for the interest, but into destroy. Pouring, especially with ministry, it's all about spiritual things. So if you're not spiritually grounded, if you don't know God enough, if you're not on your feet grounded, people will be pouring words in your ears, and you lose a good man.
You will lose a good man. I love that. They'll cause you to second guess yourself.
Yeah, you lose a good man.
But you're a good man.
You are. Yeah, he is.
Okay. All right.
Has there been a point in time where she's just come on and giving you a holler and be like, I can't do this stuff in my business anymore? Take your church. Take your ministry. Take your church people.
Okay. Yeah, I think she has not. I don't know if I should say she said like for joke or whatsoever, but there are times she can make some comments to get my point that as for this job cry,
it's only about God. The role.
Let me see my as for this. As for this business, it's God that called me. I didn't hear from God. It's only God called you. So you sort of issue, And then sometimes as well, it's like that like the things she wish she can do, she doesn't get the chance to do it because not because she's either suppressed whatsoever, but if you are even a child of a president or even a monarch, there's a way you must conduct yourself. I'm not saying that she wants to do something bad, really. It's just that sometimes you wish you would go out of your way and do certain things and blah blah blah. You know, I mean, for me, when we are going out, if your dressing does not please me, we are not going out. Yeah, because we must conduct ourselves really well, and raising children. So whatever they see you, I always tell her that you are a mirror. You're a newspaper. People won't come directly, but whatever they see, if he's doing it, then biblically it's right. Yeah. So there's been times where, and I can see it's difficult for her. And I remember this was more at the beginning of her marriage. And I think understanding, that's why I give her credit, because I think she's really grown up a lot. Because at the beginning, it was so difficult for her. Even before, it was so difficult for her. Because a young lady met a young man. This young man was so focused on ministry. A young man was prophesying, casting out demons, and Holy Ghost impartation, and anointed, always prayerful. She would say, I used to joke less. I was always serious, that kind of thing. So I think for her, to be really honest, she was in a different world, and I was in a different world. We were not compatible
at the beginning.
And even now, there are still some areas where we are still not compatible. Of course. I mean, I will not lie about that. We're not compatible agreement. We don't the same thing. You know, I will say this way, then she will say it this way. But at the end of the day, kind of come to a mutual agreement. You get my point. So for her, I think it was frustrating that most of my friends are doing well with their maybe partners or husbands, and they are going on holidays and blah blah blah. They're having fun. As for us, work, ministry, and so sometimes they're a bit frustrating. And I think for us, the time we started ministry we're still very very young, really. Still very very young. And I think I told her that let us let's what's called let's delay our what's the other word called again? It's like let's work hard now and enjoy later. You get my point. So and I think, and I knew I was not doing myself a good favor because I was overworking the ministry. I'll give it time, meeting leaders, training them, pastors, people, blah 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 blah. But it has all worked out to be a good one. So it hasn't always been that good, easy for her. I mean, she's a great woman. She'll come out and laugh. My wife is always laughing. When she's angry, you never know she's angry.
You know I'm angry.
I mean, I will know she is. I will know that attitude she didn't like. I will know it. But to the public, oh, your wife is always smiling. You get my point. So it's like that there are certain things she wish she can do, but and of course me too. I'm not an angel, man. I was born man before a man of God. There are things you wish you can do, but because of the work you do, and even it's not only ministry. If you work in any particular environment, there are some things you must do. Because if there's a bad report heard about you, the company might decide to dismiss you. You get my point? So it can be a bit of a difficult. And I think I always give her credit because this generation is very hard to see young women marrying men of God. And I feel one day have a discussion about that. It's very hard because whenever you hear about a lady marrying a pastor, no, me, I don't want suffering. But you should go and be a suffer mommy and so for you to come and enjoy. As for me, I don't want to be restricted. As for me, I don't want to be. That's why I would give her credit because woman doesn't want that sort of responsibility. All they want is that work. Come back home, taking me holiday. I don't want you in the nighttime prayer, but prayer is your job as a Christian anyway. You get my point? So I think I give her credit for being that woman that has really been able to stay with me and understand that it's not easy in the ministry, but then again, always there. For example, like another point, like even she's got 2 kids now. Do you my point? But her willingness to pray, study the word, and all things be to God. You know, study the word, praying. leading women now, leading women,
Mhm.
Ignite ministry.
Mhm. Mhm.
having-
She's
and
doing a great job too. Mhm.
she's still working.
Mhm.
Come on, that's a
Mhm.
good woman. She works, looking after kids, leading women in ministry, and she's got her own life as well.
Triple
So
threat.
thank you. So I think young ladies, if you're watching me, if there's a young pastor who likes you, for the sake of the increase of the kingdom, marry them. And I believe that any woman who accepts to marry a pastor, they shall receive a great reward.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you, man of God. So I hope you heard all the young people out there. That young, promising man of God who's been chasing you, he doesn't quite have the swag as my papa at the moment. As First Lady says, from glory to glory. Take them like that, okay? A time will come and you'll see them, man of God. My next question. Oh, please. That's my next question. So normally when we talk about, because you mentioned prayer, when we talk about spirituality in marriage, it's always expected that the woman is the weaker one and she's supposed to come along because the man is already there and the man has no room for growth. But with you personally, how has marriage helped you to grow spiritually?
Well,
Or has it rather dampened your spirit? Are you less anointed since you've been married? Because now there's more sex and less time for prayer. So.
Hey.
Wow. Okay. I think I will approach this question in two ways. One way is that I think as a man, I'm called to really nourish a woman.
Yeah.
According to the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if it's going down, then there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we've gone down, we've been going up.
Amen.
And as I said earlier, every year we are moving from glory to glory.
Amen.
Okay. And I think one of the areas where I believe that has helped me so much is that I think I was someone that I wasn't very patient.
Okay.
Yeah, so marriage has taught me how to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage has taught me a lot how to be patient in life. The things you want, you don't always get it. And this morning I was saying that Jesus came to be baptized at the River Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
The Son of God had to join the queue.
Mm-hmm.
Patience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've learned a lot how to be, because before I got married, I was kind of like speeding out, like I want things that making my point. But when I got married, I was like, God was trying to not necessarily slow me down, but going to put me through a process.
Mm-hmm.
It's called test.
Mm-hmm.
That's what today many of us don't have. We feel God said it, so let's just jump and do it. No, it doesn't really work like that. So with a woman, I noticed that the Bible uses the word a weaker vessel. Get my point? So the way I would treat my fellow man is different from the woman.
Mm-hmm.
So God used her to train me to kind of like, know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so that point is very, very, very important, because I used to do things, I want to get this done, but she's I've learned that, let's be patient and wait for God. And of course, in terms of ministry as well, I think by getting married, I believe that there's more acceptance. Yeah, and I tell you why. Before I got married, there are ministries that will never give you pulpit to preach or to sing because you are not married. And it's not just time ago, it's still happening today. Before a man of God will invite you to their pulpit, they do a Facebook search. Are you married? Do you have kids? If you don't, so that kind of thing gave me that assurance, that peace, knowing that I'm accepted wherever I go. I don't care. Married, so that has really helped a lot. And I think, of course, in terms of working together as team players, that's very important. There were things I do myself, and I believe yourself as well. But when we got together, I think the productivity level is on the high, because it's two people doing it together. So marriage has not actually brought me in per se, brought me down. I think it's lifted me. And I
Okay.
think, well, there's been a level of an anointing. Because before I used to think that, you know, if I don't, what I still pray, don't get me wrong, do my point. But I think that now God understands that, oh, before I could have his undivided attention.
Mhm.
But now that young man is married. He
Mhm.
now has a family. So
Mhm.
God understands that analogy. There is
Mhm.
going to be a moment where I believe there's going to be a moment where that God may still get my attention more. When would that be? We are grown, the kids are grown, the kids are now independent, and I could get that time back again.
Mhm.
So I think that marriage has really done me a good favor, a lot,
Okay.
than to be saying that, oh, I regret I got married and I should have done better and that kind of thing. I think for me, it's not the case. No, it's not the case.
Okay. Okay. So you're in no way or shape think you would have been a lot more further in terms of ministry if you had remained single as opposed to if you had married. Or now that you're
I think in terms of being single, sometimes you can say speed.
okay.
Speed, yeah. I mean, because when you are single, you can travel, you can go on a retreat alone, as I said earlier, not thinking about anybody, just yourself. Because the more you pray, the anointing increases. But the moment where you have to share time with God and with your wife, in as much as God understands it, God will still love it if you spend time with him.
Okay.
Do you get my point? So I think when you are single, there's a bit of speed. But again, if you are married, you have an advisor.
Okay.
You have the good Ahithophel in life. Because if I'm alone, I will just make a hasty decision without no one. But if now I'm married, whatever I want to do, I present to her first. Then you tell me, okay, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a very good one. So in my heart, there is a sense of confidence that, oh, I've got a second word opinion, or there's a confirmation. And that's why these days, many young men that are obviously not married, they make a lot of mistakes because there's no one there to really kind of like, you know, give them an advice and stuff like that. So I think marriage has been very, very positive.
Perfect. Brilliant. First Lady.
Hello.
This is for you. Someone has asked. So in the book of Genesis, the Bible talks about God making man in his own image. And the Bible says God looked upon it and saw that everything he had made was good. And shortly after, the Bible says it regretted God that he had made man. So living with man in the sense of both sexes is difficult anyway. How do you practice forgiveness practically in marriage?
Okay.
Over the 6 years, I'm sure your husband has offended you many times.
Oh, many
even though he's what did he do last night?
He's joking.
How do you practice forgiveness in marriage?
Forgiveness is one factor that is in line with marriage, and you have to practice it. The Bible even tells us that we should forgive. You know, if you forgive, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. So forgiveness is something that is very, very important in marriage. And this last 6 years, I think what has worked for me is not being able to sleep over the matter. So I would never go to bed without making sure that we are both forgiving each other. We have both spoken about the problem, and we know that we don't have anything in our hearts. Because I think one thing about me is if I have issue, especially if I have issue in marriage and I don't speak out,
you go crazy.
I'll go crazy. That is me. I have to speak out. If I see a problem, it needs to be addressed immediately. That is me. People might not know me, but a bit of a no-nonsense woman. And it has to be addressed immediately. If I see something I don't like, if you do something I don't like, I'm not a woman that would say, maybe God will take care of it. It's not until we discuss it. And so communication has been one of the most effective aspects in our marriage, that we communicate. If you like it or not, we are talking about it. And that is what helped. So we will communicate. Pastor is also somebody that is not a person that is hard for him to say, I'm sorry. So every anytime he has offended me, I would speak about it. That maybe you done this so and so, and I didn't think that it was fair. I didn't think it was right. And he would explain why he maybe took those decisions or he done what he done. And immediately he would say, "Okay, mommy, I'm sorry." And then I'll just say, yes, it's okay. But I think that's what has worked for me. I never sleep over a matter in marriage. Always have to discuss it immediately, then and there, and make sure that we are all on one part. Because I have realized that in marriage, like I said, we are both coming from two angles. My mom raised me differently. His parents raised him differently. So how I process things are different to how he processes things. So if I don't get it, if we are all not on one board when it comes to forgiveness and speaking out and communication, it would ruin marriage, especially in ministry, because like I said, ministry is a lot. It's a big chunk in our marriage. So the more we speak out, the more, if I hurt him, he would tell me, Adoma, you done something yesterday that I didn't do. Maybe you showed when we went out, you did this, or and he will say it straight, and then the same thing. I say it straight away. So I think that's how I would say that's how I have practiced being able to forgive him, and he's had practice how to forgive me as well. Communication.
It's actually answered the next question that someone asked. I'm going to ask you, Papa. Someone wants to know, does she ever wear her cover and jeans and face the wall when she's upset with you and settle matters that way? Some people do. Don't touch me. They wear the cover and jeans and then they face the wall when she's upset.
That one is no more. Don't touch me. Don't come close to me.
No more. You're pulling your way through though.
It's no more.
It's
no more for. It's no more for every.
Don't listen to your pastor.
Every woman. There are times you want to.
It's natural though.
It's my
Please let him speak.
It's natural because, like Pastor said, you always say that people always need to know that sex is not something that. Bam, it happened. It doesn't, especially with women. Some women are special, okay? Some women are special. You have to prepare them. You have to sweet sock them. You have to, you're looking beautiful today. Oh, get sweets. Okay. And gradually it would end there.
Yeah, but lady, some people are upset.
If you're upset, sometimes it doesn't naturally come.
I think
lady, just sorry to cut you off. From your point, some people do what we call makeup sex right after an argument. There's no sweet talking in that.
That's what makeup sex happens. Because, but you still have to sweet talk the person.
Yeah, because it's not like a girlfriend and boy. This is marriage. This is marriage.
Because
so
you're angry and having sex.
No, you get my point. I mean, if when you're angry, you eat. When you're angry, you eat. When you're angry, you bath. When you're angry, you go out to shop.
But it's emotional.
Yeah, exactly. So why are you not doing this one? Did you remember my point? So I think I don't really. I mean, there are times where you're not in the mood. I mean, all of us, and at times you're upset with something and that kind of thing. But I think it's something with women anyway. I mean, something with women. I mean, I'm a counselor anyway, so I mean, I've solved issues and over time. It's something with women that women does a lot. I mean, they know that maybe tonight you want to have sex, yeah, maybe house, whatever. That night is the night you sleep early. That night is the night.
Are we speaking subliminally, Papa?
Are you speaking by your counseling session?
Subliminal.
I'm experience.
Hey.
Experience.
But if you're tired,
the Bible says that the thing that we have seen and heard, the witness
that testify of. First lady, your daughters are listening.
So some are seen, some are heard. But praise be to God that you wouldn't know which one that are seen. So that night, and I think it's something that most women need to be very careful about that. You don't need to wait for your husband to come and be working on you and blah blah blah, work on you. You are not like some stew or some soup. You have to start from the ground. By the time the food is ready, crowd interest is gone. The food is gone already. Do you get my point? And I understand that something very, very emotional, very, very important. The thing is that why must women work so hard to get to that point. Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's something with women. I mean, that most of the time that she's not in the mood to have sex. Really, I mean, it's a woman. Yeah, majority of the time she doesn't want to have sex. Really. And then leave it alone. And I always tell people that men naturally men, I would say maybe every, I don't know, 2 days, 3 days. I don't know, or every day. Let's say every day. Men, let say every day. They don't want to have sex. And with women, yeah, when they have sex with you, yeah, when they have sex with you, not every woman, but some women.
Yeah, mommy, yeah. Pastor is playing smart.
Some women. Some women, yeah. When they have sex with you one day, yeah, they register in the chronicles. They are down for the month, or they are down for the 12 months. You know, so, but we don't also what. So I think it's an area where the women be very careful that whether you are angry or not in the mood, sex is just like communication in marriage.
I'm learning.
Sex is something that is very important, and we all know. I mean, the benefits of having that intimacy with your partner. The Bible talks about it, not obviously, so that the enemy does not come in and cause a problem. And of course, I mean, you're a doctor, it releases tensions and stuff like that. And it's true. Sex releases tensions, right?
It does, yeah. It releases happy hormones.
That's a doctor over there for you anyway. So yeah. I get that from it. It's not every time. No, not tonight. I'm tired. Not tonight. Not tonight. And then sometimes women will start announcing 1 hour earlier or 4 hours earlier. I'm tired. So when you start hearing I'm tired, you are tired. Why would you want to go in trouble with someone who's very tired?
Well, my woman, stop commenting.
Because they announcing 4 hours before. You know my point. So it's something that I believe that every man or every woman has probably.
Thank you, mommy. Woman has to always be ready, whether in the mood or not.
It's part of season.
Mommy, what are you?
You have to be ready in and out of season.
She actually thought that this person was going to support her.
Yeah.
That woman has to be always. Sorry, my English is not even working out. Women have to be always ready, whether in season or not. It's part of the calling. My God, I'll come and sow a seed to you. I'll come and sow a seed. Very necessary in marriage. Very necessary marriage. Pastor, I comment. Pastor Albert,
Instagram, bring your comments in.
My God, have mercy here. Pastor, men can't get my point because men are not speaking about. Speaking about, they come out and they look that great, but their wife is starving them and they are dying at home. And they go out and they look at the young girls at the traffic light. The light is green, but they are still parked. They're looking around. So if the job, if the thing is done well at home, but today, majority of young women in marriage have no clue about sex.
That is true. Especially
about sex.
Woman.
And even men as well, they have no clue about sex. Me, I'm tired. Sex is only for having kiss. If there's no kiss involved, then what's the point? God made it, and God said it is good. I'll rest my case.
Please allow my papa to flow. I feel like I'm tapped on a very sensitive topic. Allow him to flow.
Let me express myself because
someone said when I need it now.
Exactly. Because you see that they're talking about. They want to talk about, but they can't.
Man of God flow.
And they're very quiet. They can't talk because.
It's what my Auntie Monica said, but sometimes husband, you have to consider.
Consider what? You consider when you are eating.
Thank you.
Do you consider when you are eating?
You do.
Do you consider your
Sometimes
bathroom?
you don't want to eat some food.
The part we are talking about is that marriage. You see, marriage is not. Sorry,
Sit up properly, Papa. Sit up.
sex is not. Let me sit up. Let me sit up.
Uh-huh.
Not one
Lady,
person.
give him space.
Sex is not 1% of the marriage.
Mm.
You are wrong. Sex carries a heavy weight in marriage.
Hey,
Why are some men go out, they don't come back home early?
fair enough. Yeah.
Why are some men come back home, they don't say good
Good afternoon. You don't even know what part of their day it is.
Why are some men not complimenting their wife?
Mm.
Because their wife is punishing them. So what's the point of me complimenting you? And then they go out, then they act like they are that woman that are very good at home no, they are wrong. So I feel like the generation that as young people, now some people that you are 25, you are 30. If you cannot enjoy sex in this age, when you are 55 and all your back is broken, what are you going to do? The moment to try everything.
Yeah.
And I believe try everything. But the Bible said when God created, God said it is good. So who is man to say it's not good?
Preach.
And why are you trying to avoid something the Bible has endorsed?
Preach on.
Amen.
Yes.
So there's tension at home.
Amen.
There's tension at home. Let me tell you something. Even
Tell
there
me,
is a
Papa. Tell us.
when there's a financial problem at home, right, sex is overcome it. I'm telling you what, the tension.
Wow.
Even though sex doesn't pay bills, but it minimizes the tension at home. You have to be very smart.
Hey.
This young woman here, my man of God, one day I sat down with a couple and I found out that, 3 months, they've had sex once.
Oh, that
3 months, they had sex once. Can you imagine? They sleep on the same bed. Whilst people who are in a distant relationship are on FaceTime. FaceTime trying to do something.
All sorts of things.
You are lying on the same bed with your husband. You are not sick. You are not paralyzed. You are working. Why did you marry? You are putting someone's son in a very uncomfortable situation.
Somebody's son.
You are killing them. And when something happens, and in this world, there are people who always back women, of course.
Oh, you're not backing us now.
And when something happens, oh, it's true. But they forget that the woman was not doing a good job. So women that are listening to me, I'm young. So I said the truth. The reason why my church listens to me because I speak the truth. I say what it is. I don't hide. I will say it. I don't. I say. So you have to understand that it's very important that sometimes try all things, not just in the bed, not just can we. Oh, let's have another
kitchen, bathroom.
Rosie, which one do you use?
And it's very important.
Firstly, it's called the love seat. I'm not on the love seat.
It's very important that, and I'm so happy, I'm so happy that, one time someone said to me that, oh, Pastor, you are not becoming human. Because before, it's just about the Holy Spirit. And I'm so anointed, but I'm becoming more open. Because the generation God has placed in, I mostly are young people. Why would I always be talking about the Holy Spirit? Fall down, fire, but they are struggling. So I have to be very open and teach people literally, even if I am happy to speak about positions in sex. It's in the pulpit, we don't talk about it because we are shy. We are thinking, oh, man, no. And parents are not teaching their case. I don't know if your mom taught you about sex before.
We never spoke about it.
Me, my dad, and my mom. I've never heard nothing
It
about
was so interesting. Even when you turn the TV on and someone is kissing, it's so awkward in the living room. Just like, oops, and like everyone just go quiet. Like we never mention anything else. Even till now, I can't call my mom and
So, Papa, adding on that. So, when a couple, from what First Lady has just said, when a couple meet and they're planning to get married, or when they get married, whose responsibility is it to teach them about, especially sex in marriage, or her coming from a different background and you from a different background? if you don't get good counselors, whose responsibility is it to teach them? And
at the time of this discussion, it's a sign that the man or the woman has already failed.
Okay.
Because you should not be exposed to sex at the time of marriage. That means parents have failed in teaching you something.
It's quite tricky at that. You saying that though, because I think that's one thing. I'll add to what Rosie asked me initially, that I wish someone taught me about sex, because I obviously followed the principles of the Bible: no sex before marriage. I never slept in pastor's house ever in the time I known him. And when we were courting, we never slept in each other's. Well, yeah, we never really slept in each other's houses. So he would come to my house. He would sleep in the hall. If he wants to sleep over, he would sleep over, but it would be on the sofa. And like my mom would allow him. So that setting of sex, we never practiced it. So when we got married, I got married, but my mind about sex, it wasn't, I wouldn't lie, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. I didn't, and unfortunately, we didn't get counseling before we got married. Because our pastoral dad said, you two have known each other for so long, you can do marriage. And he's a pastor, so you two are.
And that was a tragedy, because I was seen as someone that know everything. So so that you can do yourself. Yeah. And it wasn't really very much helpful. So we had to really
teach ourselves.
And because the thing is that there's a lot of the divorce rate is really increasing now.
So
and two of them is in the area of sex. It's in the area of sex.
In the Christian,
and people are saying that,
I
mean, somebody may say, well, what if I do not enjoy my husband?
Yeah.
You know my point.
Yeah.
You have to.
That comes up a lot in young people. What if we're not sexually compatible? That comes up a lot with young people.
So I believe that we probably may have to have another section where we can deal with that, because it's terrible.
It's very important.
So I was saying before that at the time of the marriage, if you have no clue about sex,
then you failed.
Then there's a failure there. But we can correct it.
Okay.
You get my point? Because parents should be able to teach their kids about sex, really. The church should also have a marriage school, counseling sessions where, for me, I don't believe in just teaching people marry before they marry. Just like that. I believe like even 4 years before you marry, I don't even mind teaching you about marriage. And my church should be they're my witness. I teach people about So what we have to understand is that we have to learn. If you want to go and marry, learn. Learn. If your parent didn't give it to you, maybe someone that's outdoor around you, go to them, ask questions. How do you have sex? Ask them. The problem is that when you ask, they will turn you down. So there are a lot of women who are married today. They don't know how to have sex.
It's true.
All they know is just lie down.
I agree.
Like a dead body in a mortuary. Just lie down. They have no clue.
Okay.
My best friend said to me that, Pastor, sex is really not a big thing. It's just be creative. I like that. She said, man, she said, use your common sense. So that means we have lost our common sense, really. The thing is that we work hard on every other area of our life. When it gets to sex, sex is different. No, it's not different. It's the same thing. Same level. Same level.
I think it's important because at the beginning of my marriage, this was, and I'm saying it just to help every young. It was just like it was like a whole work when it had to come to sex. And I think I always say the first 6 months it was long. You have to worry about finance, you have to go to work, and then when you come home, you have to cook, you have to clean, and then at the end of the day, you have to also do, you have to give your man what his desires. It wasn't necessarily about me enjoying it. It was just like doing my duty because he wants it, and
that's where women fails, because they think that they are giving sex to the man because it's a man that needs it, but she doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's how I
so
at the beginning.
What's happened to your own body? What's your body? How is your feelings? What's happening with you?
My feelings.
Man of God, from the counselings you've had in the past, what are some, especially with women, what are some of the, because I can see you're very passionate about this. I heard a man of God said pastors have very limited things they can do. Okay, they cannot drink, they cannot smoke. So when it comes to sex, they have to be passionate because that's the only thing that God gives them liberty to do.
I can't drink.
Daddy can't drink. He cannot smoke.
I have only one
He cannot go
certificate.
clubbing. So, guys, you have to understand.
And I'm a young man too. I'm a young man.
You got
I'm
blood
a young
in you
man.
flowing.
With
Yeah, but
blood flow. Oh, what are
I'm
some
not
of the
going to before I start participating. No way.
What are some of the difficulties that you've picked up, especially when it comes to women with sex? Is it the fact that some of them they have to go and shower before sex? I don't understand why they have to shower. Some of them you just can't be asked to make the effort. Is some of them? What is it? Is it because there's lack of physical attraction? Is it because of lack of education?
Lack of education.
Okay.
Lack of education. Lack of some people will take a course and study about finance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Take a course and study about how to communicate well in marriage.
Yeah.
But they will never take a course and study on how to have that intimacy going on in their marriage.
And sorry to cut you, to add on to it, Papa, especially this is more prominent in Christian homes. It's a lot more prominent in Christian homes. Is it because of how the church views sex?
That's it. The church is too silent on sex.
Agree.
The church. I mean, even now, I'm here speaking about sex, right? Someone looking at me. Oh, really, Pastor? Oh,
Someone will listen to
you
this
have
and be
been
like, you're not preaching the gospel. So you're not
sharing the gospel.
Yeah.
How can I share the gospel and preach Christ if at home I'm not happy?
Yeah.
You see where I'm coming from? So I feel like the church has been so silent on this particular area. And church members, it's the same because the pastor that doesn't want to talk about it. Doesn't want to hear about it. Oh, there are children there. Look at the British education system. Now they are teaching children about, is it a LG word?
LGBTQ plus.
So they are actually educating children. So what is the church doing? Why must the church wait until someone says, I'm going to marry before they start counseling? I don't believe in that. That's why we encourage like single workshops, single seminars, and talk about these things. Because it will do us a good favor. Sex is very, very important in marriage. I've come across a couple that's a pastor. Sometimes we have sex 4 times a day. And like, hey, baptize me. How do you do it? I need that anointing. And I can't understand that it's education, willingness. They are very tired, but they understand that sex is an important part of their and they're doing very well. But if you are someone that me, I'm tired is the only language you know. Oh, I'm sick. Every day you are sick. The day you are sick, your husband don't even know you are sick. The church is too quiet. It's too quiet in addressing these matters in the pulpit. And I believe that yes, we must preach Christ. We must, but when they have come into the sheepfold, we must teach them, because if your marriage is good, if your marriage is going really well, chances are you succeed in life.
It's true.
Amen.
It's true.
Amen.
Yeah, very important that, and something as well. I come to understand that most women are also not only education; they are very lazy. They are very lazy. Lazy. They are too laid back. They are too laid back. They don't want to get up. They don't want to do anything. It's like, I don't know. They're just lazy. Really. They're not passionate about it. When it's about, they'll go to church. Oh, hallelujah, praise God. When they get there,
First lady.
So you see, so we are not. We have to, and I'm very passionate.
Papa, I think we definitely need another session to touch up more on this.
I
We don't have time for it today. First lady, when my Papa has preached the word on Friday, preached a heavy word on Sunday, and virtue has left him, how do you replace the virtue?
No, the Friday night thing, I'm good. I'm really
Friday
good
night,
at it.
you're good. It's a Sunday night.
Oh, it's a Sunday night thing when you're, but we are all repenting, we are repenting gradually,
We're all learning.
I am a very good girl. Very good girl. The Friday night thing is on point. But the Sunday night thing, we are still
Sunday
getting.
night. Did you ever meet him at the door with a cocktail, pina colada in hand, virgin pina colada for my papa, please, wrapped in cling film with your Victoria's Secret on?
No. As for this
Can we move on to the next question, please?
This one, no. You see, it's very, very hard, yeah. You see, that's why I said, you know, let me talk. It's an effort. It's an effort. It's an effort. Some women don't even know that they can go to.
Can we go to the next question?
Some women don't even know that it's a good thing to go to them. What's it called again?
Victoria's Secret.
What? It's good to go to that shop and buy something and put on your smell that great. The moment your husband knocks at the door, you meet him with it.
But I've done that.
The Bible says that, and Abraham met the angels at the end. Hey, and some women don't even know these things.
I have done it before. No. But it was actually my question.
But First Lady, why do you assume he's talking about you?
Let me.
Sorry.
I said
Why do you assume he's talking about you?
and the things we have seen.
Because right now you're making people suspicious.
So
No.
exactly. So let me talk. So many young women are not doing well in that area, and it's as if I'm talking about the women. I mean, later I'll talk about the men too, because you must have. I mean, if a woman works hard, put an effort, come to you, you don't go far. Then what's the point? The next time when you call the match, what's the point?
And this
you got my point.
Actually, Pastor, I heard that there's someone actually, a man is saying that, you know what, they actually think that sex is just for kids.
Well, that's
just making babies.
That's their belief.
That's usual for men to say as well.
Yeah. So it's something that women need to put an effort. Get some nice makeups, put some nice perfumes and smell nice. That he might be 2 miles away, but the smell of you can even attract him.
Yes. Papa, is First Lady romantic?
Oh, yes, for 100%.
What was the last romantic gesture she showed?
Oh, yesterday. Tell them. Go.
My God, Messi.
Taking you to Kate's Cafe doesn't count.
No, the things are too many. He can't think of which one to share.
I think,
but I'll leave him to share.
I think you know what, like with these things here, I think what men don't want is to always be asking for it.
It's not just sex.
Because no. I mean, she's obviously about. I mean, in terms of, let me tell you something. My wife, when it comes to gifts, gifts.
Buy.
I
present it nicely.
Like yesterday.
I love you so nice.
Yesterday, I went to the shop. I bought her some stuff, and I thought she wasn't gonna buy me nothing because I mean, usually I don't. It's I celebrate. I mean, anniversary. You know what? You get my point. But I was quite surprised the amount of stuff she bought for me. And, it was really nice. So gifts. And at home, she'll come around you, but not always, because she's most of the time she's busy on her phone. Have to talk to Ignite Women Ministry and prepare them. Which is something we do as a ministry, because me too, I'm very busy. So I mean, so she's going in that area. Are you expecting anywhere from me? Right?
No. Giving you.
So in terms of being romantic, I mean. There are other areas where she should be very, very good at, but obviously there's always a room for improvement, isn't it, for everyone?
For everyone.
Yeah.
First Lady is Papa romantic. See, I think when we're dealing with a couple in ministry, especially, and this is one reason why a lot of young people don't want to marry people in ministry as well, because they think, they're not romantic, they're boring, rare. I've heard that many times with people who have whose suitors have approached them and suitors may be connected to ministry. So what are some of how do you create romance in your marriage, especially when it's growing, when it's maturing, to risk it becoming stale? How do you generate romance?
Okay, I think one thing. Oh wow, there's a feedback. recently, I think we actually done a quiz on our love language, which was nice because we haven't done that before. We always knew that this bit is what turns my husband on. So he's always loved gifts. So like he said, oh, when it comes to gifts, I'm good because I know that he puts a smile on his face all the time, no doubt. It makes him happy. So I would get gifts, and I'm good at this stuff. I'll get it, hide in his wardrobe, hide it
very
places.
Very, very
like
good.
now and then I would get him gifts because that's so in a way that is how, you know, I would say I'll turn him on, or you know, I get him on, and then when you say something good. So this recently we done about our love language, and we realized that, you know, what his love language is and what my love language is. So we are working on that. So things that I need to do. I think yours was words of affirmation, which I think is wrong. But anyway, so it's just like speaking what he wants to hear in his ears all the time, doing things that he would appreciate it more and like, for he knowing my love language. And I think it's very important that as Christian couples, and especially as couples in ministry, we give a lot of time away to people, and sometimes their home is being, you know, is broken. So it's important that we find in each about what each person's like, about, you know, what each person like or prefers, and then work around that. Because you cannot say that, oh, maybe my friend, you know, put petals all over the bed and stuff, so I'll go that way. Maybe it might not impress your partner. Oh God, it might not impress. Hey, the last time we went on holiday, you don't remember me putting petals on? You know, men forget quickly. You know,
the last time.
Men forget quickly.
Long time
the last
ago.
time was a long time ago. Anyway,
but the point, but First Lady, the point he's trying to make is, why do you have to go on holiday to do it for him? Why can't he come home? Why can't he come home and he will put petals in a nice, make a nice bubble bath, put petals in it for him, and say, "Listen, you've delivered a powerful message. Relax, enjoy."
You know what I'm gonna say? I think at the beginning, that like I said, marriage is a process. We are all learning, and this chat, we wanted it to be as transparent as possible. So I'm really enjoying it. But then at the beginning of marriage, like Rosie, you've said something very phenomenal. Like, why does it have to be on holiday that you do? Why does it have to be occasional and stuff like that? And I think it's marriage is work. And at the beginning, when we didn't have Aiden, we didn't have Ayana, I think around that time we were doing it more. I think so. I think we were doing it more.
You think?
It was better than, you know, how I would be doing my romance and whatnot. Remember, we used to light the candles up at home. You remember now, innit?
Amen.
You remember? We used to do a lot of it. And then when the kids started coming in and ministry.
Once a while.
To be honest with you, Rosie, you need to ask your pastor, is he ever at home to experience that? He's always doing ministry. So, yeah.
But he sleeps home, doesn't he?
Exactly, I sleep
home. That's the more reason why.
Anyway, so yeah, I said at the beginning, it used to be more because there's no kid, there's the responsibilities was more. So, you know, gradually, if you're not
romantic prophet.
If you're not careful, it can easily drift. That romantic side of things can easily drift. So it's just always, like you said, not making it just occasional. But like, I'm learning, to be honest with you. So, you know, I'm gonna just, you know, be doing it more, and maybe next year we'll have one and it'll be, oh, she put candles here. Oh, every day she do this. But then I think I do things in my power to make him happy. I think that's romantic anyway.
Romance, an area where we need to have another session where we can properly talk about.
I agree. I have a lot of people messaging me privately. I don't know why they're not putting it on Facebook. They want me to ask. So they say, it was Rosie who asked. Say that the blame will be on me, but it's not me. Some question they're asking, Papa. I'm not even too shy to ask. So I think you've touched on this. You've touched on this, but just to ask again, this is about physical attraction. How important or significant is physical attraction in maintaining a marriage or in helping with longevity of a marriage?
Yeah, it's very important. It's very, very important, and I think it's an area where we Christians must really pay attention to, because you can't just love someone only in the heart, right? physical outlook is very, very important. My wife will tell you. Let me talk about myself. Really, for me, I chose you because of your heart.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
But as we go along in marriage,
Yeah.
my eyes, I'm not blind. My eyes are very good. I see good things. I like good things.
Yeah.
And me, sometimes anything can put me off.
Easily. You're easily. Yeah.
That's me. I'm easily put off.
Put off. Yeah.
For me, you have to really, like, dress nice. And even I told her that, well, it's fine. You've had 2 kids, but you can still look great.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
So there are some people that when they have 1 or 2 or 3, they look like, oh,
life is over.
Life is over. They don't put that. They come back
from Mokola Market.
Thank you. They are home with their husband and they dress just nothing really. And I don't know. So they're not making an effort.
Yeah.
So, but when it's a wedding reception, when they are going and they dress very nice to go out, but the time they are spending with your husband, they are wearing kaba. And they just dress really bad. So physical attraction is very, 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 very important in marriage. So even in the area of even sex as well, as a man or as a woman, especially as a woman, you might be able to dress some way that, because men are with their eyes. You know my point, and women are the worst. Yeah. You must put on nice kind of like dress. The thing you are, and I always tell people that, you know what, you must be able. It's great to seduce your husband, of course, it's good to seduce your husband, but the way you are looking at her, you are not
attractive,
seducible. I don't know. You look and then you complain that my husband does not touch me, does not have sex with me. He doesn't come around, because the thing he sees, there's no courage. So you have to make an effort. Dress nicely. Your mouth to you brush, and so it smells. That sometimes when you speak, libro zihanta nako lep. Do you know my point? So it's great that your mouth smell is very important. He's hugging you, but when the moment he passed from your nose to the mouth and went to the back,
there's a problem.
Something passed by. You wonder where's it coming from.
Eventually.
So your wife or your husband. So I think that really, attraction is so important. Your hair is. She will tell you, I'm easily put off. I'm telling you. So I'm not trying to put demand on her, but that's just how I am. Yeah. I get bored easily. And I'm not saying that I'm very hard to please. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. But it's like, for me, if you're a married woman or whatever, you must dress nice. You must look great. You must look pleasant.
Papa, I think it's a lot easier for men though, because you wake up, you just go to the bathroom, get ready. For a woman, there's so much that she has to do. If she's got kids, she needs to shower them, get them ready, feed them. Then she needs to go shower and put her hair on, put her face on. So what can men do to meet the women halfway, especially when there are kids involved? And I think someone has asked a question: do children play a part or play a role in marriage? So how does kids affect or change the dynamic of a marriage? Or how has Aiden and Ayana changed the dynamic of your marriage?
Yeah. They are home. They are home. And I see them trying to come here. So that bond, for example, before the kids came in, we could just sit down, watch a movie. We could go to the cinema. We could go out to shopping, Westfield, drive around. I don't know. But now you can't do them. If you want, you still can do them. But you must pay someone to look after. But by the grace of God, for us, we've got obviously mother-in-law who is able to help us sometimes. But so kids.
If you want to have sex midday and Aiden is home, because Aiden he's a lot older than I am. What do you do? Did you lock him in his bedroom and force him to sleep, or what do you do?
During the day, Aiden is in school.
Yeah. And on the weekend.
I think during the day, to be really honest, we are not that couple that really have sex during the day. I think I think so. It's true. Wow, really, not. Well, I would say my wife and me are not day people. I would say that. My wife and me,
hey, Yeah.
At times, you know what?
Rosie.
You say transparent, right?
No, it's okay. Move to the
So at
next
times,
question.
yeah, she say, okay, hold on.
First lady, please. I like first lady.
And at times she'll be like, oh, in the night. Wait,
In the
wait.
night. Hmm.
Time to, she's tired. Night calls for tiredness, right? Two of us.
And night you can only do in a bedroom. You can't do it on a dining room table. So why wait till night?
Yeah, and it's an area where most Christians are. We are very poor in that particular area. We are very poor. And we need to really grow up and take authority and take charge in our marital homes. That you need to do everything to save your marriage. If you have to climb up. So yes, I mean, for us, really, I mean, my wife is not a day woman anyway. I mean,
what are you saying? Your wife is not. What is the time to even do it now?
I mean, you said we have been to having. I mean, we are helping people anyway. So.
Mommy, I'll call me straight after this. I'm expecting her call.
No. It's about us trying to support people because you know, I always tell people that if you cannot use your experience to help people, then why are you in ministry? There are areas of we cannot go into anyway. But then again, what we're saying is very common. It's very general anyway. That it's important that you try various things and various ways in marriage, so you always be very, very happy. You know, make an effort. They are home, they will make noise. Lock them up. Lock it. Put the key and lock me up. No, they will not die. But literally, with a woman, women are when they're having sex, they are very conscious of their case. Really, I mean, most women, but some women as well. When the desire is there, when they want to enjoy sex, they'll forget about their case. It's when you are coming, they'll think about their case. So I think it's just something that we Christians need to really learn a lot. We are really
Papa, I think we definitely need another session, especially for being a woman in ministry. So taking First Lady as an example, who's got Ignite Women made up of literally 80% of the church are women, if my calculations are not bad. So you have a lot of young, middle-aged, elderly women who sit under your ministry and you advise them. So in a ministry where where you've got a woman who isn't well educated or who is not willing to learn or whatever they know, if they're stuck in their way, that's what they will pass on to the children that are learning from them. So it's very important, and that's why we appreciate and love you guys. You're such a blessing to us, and the fact that you can open up your home and your lives for us to peek in and learn, we really appreciate it. I think I've got a few questions coming, but we did touch on this at the very beginning, and because of time, I just to touch on it again for me, Papa. I already asked you, but someone is asking now. But we've already asked at the beginning. What have you learned about marriage through the 6 years that you've been together? What have you learned? I think that's one of the first questions I asked about when this started. And you both gave 3 things. What have you learned? And I'm going to combine it. Challenges you face in your marriage. Yeah. So what have you learned? Challenges you face. So just to summarize, as I said, we already touched on that already. So just summarize it so we can move on.
Okay. I think we spoke a few things that we've learned, like time and like patience. But I think one thing that the challenge I think we've had I think we even discussed it whether we wanted to share it or not, was when 2 years ago I had a miscarriage. And I think that was the most hardest time in our marriage, where it was just a random coincidence. We lost our second child before we conceived Ayana. I think that was the most hardest. Aiden, go and sleep, please. Yeah.
You see what we're talking about.
Our son just wanted to join. So yeah, that was the most difficult time we had, where we've had issues, but then in the past it's always something that our parents have experienced and they can advise us, or someone has. But then with this, it was something not everyone has experienced, and it was very, very difficult to go through that and to do history at the same time. I remember that I think it was a Thursday night, I'll never forget. I come back from work. We were just being myself, dancing around, happy, excited, just singing. And then all of a sudden, went to the bathroom, saw that I was bleeding. And then, Pastor took me to hospital. And then, within the next day, we realized that we've had a miscarriage. And that Saturday, we had an Arrow School of Ministry. And I'll never forget, I came in dressed in my Arrow School of my uniform, and sat in the front. And, we had a guest coming from America. He was teaching, Pastor Randy, teaching us. And I was literally broken, sitting at the front of the church whilst Pastor was going on teaching about ministry, whilst I was leading.
She was bleeding.
I was bleeding.
That reminds me. That reminds me.
And I remember that.
You came to church.
And the Sunday, I had to do an internal examination in the middle of church. So I went to hospital to do my last examination, and then after I had to drive to church, and I came there, stood there, and I was still going through the miscarriage, and people didn't know. I still had to smile. Pastor had to preach powerfully, and it was just so hard because you just want to speak out, speak to someone who to beside. So no one knew beside my family, and Pastor told me, "Do you want to take some time off?" Because work gave me obviously 2 weeks or 3 weeks off, so I was at home. But yet I didn't take any time off from work, church. It happened on a Thursday. Friday night I was at church. Saturday morning we had workers training. I was there. Sunday I had to do my last examination at Newham Hospital. I went and I came straight back to church and acted as if everything was normal. But it was very difficult to handle that and at the same time do church. And I think the second one has been our mother, losing our mother last Christmas.
I think as we were saying before, I think there's been a lot of challenges that we've been through as a couple. And one of the things that I didn't say earlier was that being in ministry has taken a lot from us. Has taken a lot from us. And that's one of the things that people doesn't really want to hear. And they think that it's always going to be very easy. Ministry has taken a lot from us. Our time, our money. There were moments in my life where I couldn't save money. Couldn't save. I mean, all my money was just going to paying church rent, and not only paying church rent, helping people. Sometimes somebody might have a rent issue, oyster issue. Somebody might have. I don't want to be too much and talk about it, but ministry has taken so much. And most of you know, I started very young. I didn't have any business to look after the ministry. Just come out of university and hoping to get a good job, and I'll go everywhere and I get a prophecy. You want to go and your ministry. So I was getting very confused, and she was getting very confused, and we weren't sure what to do. But I still, at a point, there were jobs I was qualified, but I went for the interview. They didn't give it to me. They didn't give it to me. So I go back home and God, what is this going? But eventually I got a job. And after I got a job, all my money, my salary is either paying rent, paying musicians. There are times that I pay musicians that the church is paying them. But it was actually my money. But I do in a way that church is paying them. Because the church cannot afford in paying people. And that time, most of my church members were just college students anyway. They didn't have that amount of money to support, to give, to even pay tithe. By the grace of God, now they do. And they really do. Now we are doing very well. But so ministry has taken a lot from me. And as I said earlier, so I've learned the law and the test of patience as well. That it's important that sometimes we allow God to really process us. I said earlier that Jesus came to John the Baptist to be baptized, and when he came in, there was a long queue, and the Son of God had to join the queue. I was thinking that a VIP has come. They will make him. Just that sometimes when you are in a building and a VIP comes in, then but for Jesus, he had to just be in the queue. Had to wait. So we've waited a lot, and a lot has gone up. But all glory and honor be to God. And I think today I'm actually, when I look back, I'm like, God, that's amazing. I mean, I thank God that I sacrificed. I've sacrificed a lot. My family. There are moments where my mom was ill that I was supposed to go to the hospital, but I couldn't go because of ministry work. And at times I felt I was neglecting my mom. Ministry has taken so much, but we don't talk about them because it's not the gospel really, but we face a lot. We've been through so much. We've been through. I want to talk about demonic attacks. It's something I will never talk about here because I will not finish.
It's on another level.
Another level. And I think I'm someone that I think I felt that God really had a plan for my life. I should have died time ago, but God has really kept me all these years, knowing that He had a plan for me.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I was lying down in my home. It was in the afternoon. I had a vision, and someone walked to my house and told me that Albert, the devil is coming to your house. I was like, huh? And when the person said, the person just disappeared, and all of a sudden I saw. Well, this is. So I don't want to go to somebody who says, so have you seen him before? But I don't want to go there before. I don't want to go there. But what I saw, I almost died. But God has kept me because God knew He had a plan for my life. So yeah, a lot of challenges and a lot of things, but here we are, still living to the glory of God. Yeah.
Still living to the glory of God. I love that, Papa. First Lady, Papa, initially, I think when you agreed to do this, I did promise I will not take too much of your time because I know you're parents and you've got ministry and you've got a lot of people, a lot of things to do. You've given me 2.5 hours of your time, and I appreciate it so much. One last thing before we go. What last words do you have for couples who are now starting? So someone might be thinking, 6 years of the same person, sleeping on the same bed, waking on the same bed as the same man, same woman. How are we going to do it? How are we going to manage it? What are your last words for such people or people who have started in the first and second years of their marriage and thinking, oh God, I want to quit? What last words of encouragement do you have for them? And Papa, I want to link it to someone's question they asked, because we already answered a lot of these. How do you deal? I think this is it would be difficult to apply it to RIC because we appreciate our First Lady. But how do you personally deal with church members who do not celebrate, that appreciate and love you, but do not celebrate the First Lady?
Okay. I think with me, by now, everyone knows where I stand really. That if you want me to be happy, celebrate my wife.
Yeah.
The church knows where I stand. Wherever I go, I talk about my wife, really. So I think I really have not come into contact with a lot of people or people that directly or I've seen myself that disregard or disrespect my wife, because if you disrespect my wife, technically you are disrespecting me. And that's how we pastors has got to tell the church members, because sometimes we feel like the members are paying tithe and they're giving offering and they are there, they help out, but your wife was there as well. Do you get my point? And your wife, you have a covenant with your wife and don't have a covenant with church members. They can go, but she cannot go. So for me, I haven't really been in that situation before. But if I was to be, I will address it openly. I will address it openly. That if you disrespect my wife, no matter how bad it is, at least the report should come to me. Or tell me, maybe pastor or your wife, this and blah blah blah, that kind of thing. But I don't know. So I don't believe that it's right to disrespect a pastor's wife, because you don't know what they go through to keep that man preaching to you. If they were to put your pastor into big trouble, your pastor wouldn't have a sermon to preach to you. Your pastor's happiness is dependent upon her wife. Yeah. If your wife is a troublemaker, your pastor will turn you to become a troublemaker church members. Because he's preaching with the anger, unhappiness. And unhappiness is a spirit. So I feel like we church members, we need to really understand that the pastor's wife is really putting a lot of effort. You know, she may not look, angry, like, but inwardly sometimes it can be very difficult. And it's very, sometimes I look ahead, I'm like, oh my God. One day I said to her that, are you depressed? Because I think the ministry work was too much and she was going through so much. I said, are you sure you're not depressed? Because at time I saw it was very quiet. And none of you have never seen her being quiet before. But for her, I believe her. She can be very quiet. Sometimes I'm like, are you okay? Oh, please talk to me. And for me, she knows me. When she's quiet, oh my God, I throw questions to her. What's wrong with you? I'll push her out now, and then she start laughing because she knows she can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm very concerned about my wife. Because if my wife doesn't do well, if my wife doesn't do well, her mom will come to me.
Mm-hmm.
The world will see me as a failure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if I cannot work well on my wife,
Yeah.
what is the proof that I can manage the world?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, church, whoever you're listening to us this evening, you have to understand that it's not only about your pastor. His wife is very important.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, man of God. First Lady, you have a lot of young people looking up to you, like myself. We follow in your footsteps, your examples. What last words do you have for young ladies, especially in this generation where young ladies are rushing to be in relationships, they're rushing just to be paired up, to be called someone's missus, and they're putting up with a lot. I think I sent you a text message of what a young lady was going through. So women go through a lot. What last message do you have for someone who have made marriage successful, for 6 years is successful? What last words of encouragement, advice, provocation do you have for young women out there?
Okay. Thank you for the question. Just advice I would want to give to everyone is don't rush into getting yourself, into marriage. I think sometimes when we get to a certain age as women, I think with women, it's one of our desires for us to get married early and have kids and before 30, that this is the plan. But I would say don't put an age to the blessings of God. Don't put an age to your life that I need to do this at a certain age. And therefore, if I don't achieve it, then I will do whatever I have to do to achieve it. And this is the mistake some young people do, that you end up, chasing different men. You end up, forgetting yourself and sleeping around with, doing sexual immorality and doing all sorts of things just to catch an attention of a man. But I want to advise you that if God has said you would marry, and it doesn't matter the time. It is better that you marry at the time God has said you would marry, even if it's at age 40. You would wait and marry and have, the rest of your life joyful, or you would make a decision for yourself and make a mistake and jump from one to the other and to the other just to satisfy your own desires. So the advice I give, it doesn't matter, just enjoy your singlehood. Work on yourself, like we said before. What I wish I'd done was to spend more time, maybe saving more, investing more in myself, doing investing in properties, doing so much things when I was young. But I got married very early, so that's one thing I would throw out there. That don't rush God, because the Bible says He knew you when you were in your mother's womb. He knew the He had for you. He knew the plans He had for you, says the Lord. So just wait on God's time and use your singlehood to invest in God, to invest in study. That's one thing I wish I did when I was single, that I spend more time with God, because when you get married, the time you'd want to do things is not there anymore. So don't use these times to go about but if my time, the clock is ticking. There's no clock ticking. The world clock might be ticking, but God's time is not ticking. It's at the right time for you. So this is why I advise, stop rushing into getting married and concentrate on building yourself as a woman, so that I always say you will become an asset and not a liability to your future.
Amen. Amen. God bless you, man of God, woman of God. Thank you so much. First Lady, as I always say, you are my everyday woman, my Proverbs 31 woman, the real definition, the epitome of a Proverbs 31 woman. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. Thank you all for the questions that you've had coming through. God richly bless you. Papa, I think we definitely need a part 2. Especially on that topic that you're passionate about. I saw sweat, I saw blood, I saw everything come from everywhere. First Lady, please. Virtue has left tonight.
Yeah, because
Virtue has left him tonight.
It's important because I've seen a lot of young men are very discouraged in that area. It's like they spend a huge money for engagement, a huge money for wedding reception. They dance and scream, and then they went home and
I'm tired.
You get my point. So I think it's an area where young men are very discouraged, and so we need to teach our young women as well. And of course, we teach our young men as well that it's a give and take sort of business, really. So we need to help ourselves. And really. So that's fine.
First Lady, Victoria's Secret, and Summers.
I've got new ones. I'm going to start doing things.
I trust you. Then you come and teach us when you're done. Yeah, thank you.
I'll update you on the next
to the world that she's going to, so bear with her, okay?
Amen.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Bye. Oh, wow. That was good.
You've done so much for me, I cannot tell it all. Really, when you're completely. My broken bone. It's the pendulum. What shall I render to Jehovah? For he has done so very much for me. Come on, everybody. What shall I render to Jehovah?